Welcome to One Old Man's Opinion, episode 13. I'm the old man. Today my topic is going to be escaping cigarette addiction or tobacco. I started smoking when I was 16 years old. Back then you could smoke almost anywhere. There wasn't too much attached to it. People wouldn't give you a hard time if they caught you smoking. Unless you were, in school in class or something like that. But I smoked for about 10 years. Towards the end, last couple of years or so, I smoked in the neighborhood of 3 packs a day. That's a lot. And I had a cough, but so everybody called it a cigarette cough. We knew what it came from. But then one morning I woke up with terrible chest pains and stomach cramps, and the cough that wouldn't go away from coughing. And I thought, this is going to kill me. And it probably would have. I had it pretty bad. First thing I would do in the morning when I got up was light up a cigarette. Last thing I did at night before going to bed was light up a cigarette. Sometimes I smoked so much that I would light one cigarette from the old one. It was It was a habit I didn't really notice. I wasn't conscious that I was doing all of these things, unless something reminded me of it. It was a compulsion, sort of like you might be one of those people, or you might know someone who, when they sit down at the table, they have to line the silverware up perfectly, or you fill their glass only exactly so high, or something like that, where everything must be just a certain way. For example, the dishwasher must be loaded this way, and you don't feel right if you don't do it, but then again you don't notice, maybe you don't anyway, you don't notice that you're being compelled to do something. It's a very strong habit that you may or may not go through life consciously doing. And I did all the cigarette things, and without even thinking. And also, when I would run out of cigarettes, I had to go get some. There wasn't any way around that. I couldn't control that. Being without cigarettes was not allowed. And then there were times when I couldn't go get some more, or didn't have the money to get some more, and the craving would set in, where I would do almost anything for a cigarette, almost anything for just a couple of drags on a cigarette. I would fish in the ashtrays, especially in my car and my friends' cars, for cigarettes that had, I could relight, take a couple of puffs on, just to kill the craving. The craving only showed up when I was too far between cigarettes, but it was there. It was there. I kept it satisfied with a lot of cigarettes, but when I didn't have those cigarettes, it would get me. I couldn't think of anything else but where's the next one going to come from? And well, like I said, I woke up thinking this is going to kill me, so I had to quit. And some people I know personally have friends who said, "Oh well, okay, I guess I'll just quit," and they quit just like that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I had to try every trick in the book. It took me, in fact, 2 years about to finally get where I didn't where I wasn't tempted to take a cigarette. Well, yeah, right. But I learned a few things along the way. One of them is if you're going to quit smoking, you might as well quit drinking too, because drinking will make you want to light up. And there's a reason for that. That's because, your brain does a lot of things you're not conscious of. And one of them is it monitors vascular looseness and contractions. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, constriction, yeah. And one of those is a vasoconstrictor, and the other is a vasodilator. So when you have a couple of beers or shot of whiskey or something like that, if you're a smoker, you're going to be lighting up because the brain says, oh, wait a minute, I don't like this. But I know a way to fix it. There's somewhere in my inventory here. There it is. Light that cigarette up. And you light the cigarette up, and sure enough, the brain says, oh, that's much better, thank you. And you just lost the battle one more time. So if you're going to quit, or if you're in the middle of quitting and can't figure out why, that's one of the things you need to do. You need to, and then, you might quit drinking forever, you might just cut down forever, you might go right back to it when it's over, but the drinking will make it harder to quit. There are some other things. Find a group. Any city of any size these days has equivalent groups for Alcoholics Anonymous. I mean, there's probably groups there's groups for all kinds of drug issues. Well, as it happens, nicotine is a drug issue. And it may not have you may not get fired for smoking. You may not get divorced for smoking. You may not go bankrupt for smoking. There are all kinds of things that happen to people that have a serious drug problem. Those are not the consequences you get from smoking. But it could kill you. It could certainly give you COPD, which I still have. 9 out of 10 lung cancer cases are smokers. It can give you an ischemic stroke. That's where you got a blood clot that floats into your brain and finds an artery that it can't pass through and stops. And it's sort of like inside your head heart attack. That's what heart attacks are. They're ischemic strokes in your heart. But at any rate, there are lots of consequences. Smell bad, cost money, burn holes in your clothes, etc., etc. But mostly, it'll wreck your health. And I don't know where the statistics came from, but it's thought that regular smoking, will take between 10 and 20 years off your life. But I've been cigarette-free for 50 years. My lungs probably look as good as anybody else who doesn't smoke. And I'm not tempted, so, that's because. But you need to get help if you can't do it. If you're not one of those people that just can quit and quit, you need to get help. You need to get counseling. You need to get patches. You need to get gum. You need to have a partner who's also trying to quit. Last but not least, there's prayer. In fact, if you don't have a regular church, my episode 8 will tell you how to find one. Go. Find some people to talk to. They'll help you. They'll pray for you. They'll encourage you. And my number one piece of advice is, when you fail, which you probably will, start up again. Don't quit. The only thing you should quit is quitting. Keep at it. Some people will lick it in a day. Some people will lick it in a month or two. And then there's somebody like me. It took me 2 years, a couple of years. But it worked. I still have bronchitis from it. So whenever I get a cold, I sound like I'm dying from my cough, but everything else working. And well, if you're having problems with that, if you know somebody who's having problems with that, there's a way out. You can quit. And if you're down to the point where you're tempted to start again, let me give you some advice on temptation. The best way to resist temptation is to avoid temptation. Don't buy those cigarettes. Don't bum a cigarette. Don't hang out where there's a lot of smoking going on. Just don't be around smoking. Don't be around cigarettes. And that will help you not smoke. That's about all I have to say about it. It was a lot of trouble for me. It's a lot of trouble for some people. And I hope some people get a little bit of help out of it from this. If you know somebody who's struggling with this, give them a copy of the video. It can be done. Well, I guess that's one old man's opinion on quitting smoking. A couple more things though before I leave. Special thanks to Dr. John Hardy for the inspiration that made me do this, that led me to do this little video, tell this slice out of my life, and I hope it's useful. Hope some people can actually benefit from it. Please like and share. Maybe even subscribe. But more fun, share it with somebody you typically disagree with. You know, prank your enemies. Have a laugh. For the record, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a counselor. Don't take my recommendations as advice. It's just my opinion. If you're going to do this, if you are a smoker and you want to quit, and in my opinion you should, talk to your primary medical provider. Get the professionals in the loop. Even if it's all on you, even if you're doing all of it, they should know what you're up to. So, end of this episode. Travel with God.